되게 맛있어요, 고인. Let me eat this. 안녕하세요. 제 이름은 조나단 그로피인데 미국에서 왔습니다. 한 12년 차 됐어요. Some other food that I enjoy is 곰탕. I really like 곰탕. It's very healthy for you. First time that I had 부대찌개 was actually when I was here in Korea, the first time I was stationed here. I heard people talk about it before and said that it was basically soldier stew. I didn't particularly like it at first, but that was basically because they presented it to me. They were like, oh yeah, this is just a bunch of stuff thrown into it and stuff. Later on, I realized that it's not exactly true. And there's lots of good stuff in it and everything. But yeah, that was the first time that I ever had it. 그럼 주문할게요. 부대찌개 하나랑요. 등심살이 좀 추가해 주시래요. 네, 감사합니다. I wanted to have 등심 with it. Okay, so the main things that I know need to be in there are spam, number one, ramen, cheese, and usually sausage, some onions or... During the Korean War, there wasn't a whole lot of food to go around, obviously, and kind of a testament to South Koreans' resiliency and ability to kind of, make do with a bad situation. They took a bunch of rations and things from American soldiers. Spam was obviously something that they ate a lot of, and they had baked beans, and they had their ramen noodles and these things, and they put it into a stew. They made do with what they had, and that's where soldier stew, that's where its name came from. They also call it like helmet stew, I think I heard before, just a hodgepodge of whatever was around. Was kind of how it got started. They told me actually when I first, because I was a Korean linguist, so they want to let me know about Korean culture and things. Of course, the Korean War is a really important part of Korean history. 부대찌개 is something that I think the Korean people are fairly proud of because it's a characteristic of their resiliency and ability to bounce back. It's kind of a symbol of that. I think it's an important part of Korean history. Back in the day, spam was really a big deal. I mean, it was really, so it's unperishable. Actually, I don't think it can perish. It might perish, but like in 100 years. Very important for the soldiers. It's a super big deal in Hawaii and stuff. I don't mind it. I heard about the bad image of it before I had it for the first time. And so I naturally had an aversion to it and stuff. But once I tried it, I mean, it's just like a sausage. I mean, it's no difference. So yeah, it's salty, but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great and goes great with breakfast and eggs and all that jazz. I like it a lot. Wow. That is a lot of meat. The spam is actually right there, and then these look like to be strips of it, or maybe that's not spam, this is just the strips of spam. I'm used to them being actually in the block. It was originally viewed as like a poor man's food because it was so cheaply made and it was just so well preserved and everything like that, but very high in caloric value, quite healthy for you in moderation, of course. And I love the strip of bacon because bacon's one of my favorite foods of all time. So. 되게 맛있어요, 보이는. I want to put a couple of these in here. Let's do one more, just in there. 잘 먹겠습니다. No, very good. This to me is going to be. Yeah, a little bit, but again, it's fine. It's like it's freshness, Normally, you need to wait for things to kind of cool off with, but I know that with Korean culture, it's important to eat things while they're hot. 둘 다 맛있어요 because there's some different flavors and 다른 느낌 나와요 when you eat something really hot. Also, it's kind of cold out right now, so eating something that's a little spicy and hot and stuff is actually quite satisfying. And I know that there's some people that like to eat really hot food during the summer as well. I'm not a fan of that. I like eating hot food and spicy food in the winter times. So this is really the best time to do it. Let me eat this. I've always liked spam. Perfectly cooked. Maybe a little overcooked, I don't know. These look like glass noodles to me. It's a bit different than the ramen that's normal. I mean, normally they're a lot thinner. When you make japchae and stuff like that. This is a lot thicker. Very good. Well, that makes sense. The only other thing I can think of that has spam that people really, really like is Hawaiian spam and like rice, musubi. And that's it. That's all. So you have musubi and you have bude찌개 is the only famous things that I can think of and stuff. So that, I mean, it does make sense. Maybe Japan has something with spam in it and stuff, but spam was such a big part of Korea during the Korean War and Hawaii during World War II. That makes sense why it got popularized so much. So this is why you have to eat stuff when it's hot. Brings out that sound. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it takes just like 7 minutes probably to make this, including actually putting all the ingredients together, putting them in the pot and boiling them to get to them ready to go. And that's important because like with a lot of other soups and stuff, you have to boil it for a very, very long time to get anything out of it. So I think bude찌개 makes sense that it's really quick to cook. Like you would imagine. Like I said, it's very satisfying. You know, oh, spam is for poor people or whatever. And people will just continue to think that way. But you make something good and share it with people, you know, it'll change their opinion about it pretty much instantly. If an American, or any person for that matter, hasn't tried bude찌개 before and will try it, and if they like spam, you know, if this is their taste, they'll enjoy it. Let's do a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Let's get some cabbage on there. And actually this would probably go really well with it. Which of course makes sense why they're serving it. All right. Nice, it's cooled off a bit. There's a different flavor. Tungsim is really, really good. In fact, I'm gonna take out. This actually goes really well with it. My kids, they really like pickled radish. You'd think that, you know, I would prefer to have more meat and stuff, but I could actually use more vegetables. Oh, tower of deliciousness. Grilled kimchi is the best with pork. Put it on a grill with the pork, kirim, mixes in with the kimchi. Tastes really, really good. That's the best. You have to eat that. If you're gonna eat Korean food, you have to have samgyeopsal with kimchi, you know, 구워 먹는 kimchi. Oh, it's really, really good. If you're interested in Korean history and culture and stuff, eating bude찌개 is also really important. I mean, the significance, the historical significance of it, so. No, that's probably just because it's Chinese cabbage, but it's not. Japan tries to claim it too and stuff. It's idiotic. It's not that. There are certain things that you can prove historically, right, that came from here and there and stuff. Like kimchi definitely came from Korea. You can prove it historically. The only reason they want to lay claim to it is because it's so good. China does that with everything. Japan too. Not necessarily the Chinese people or the Japanese people. They're fine, right? It's the governments, you know, the people in power that are trying to like lay claim to things and stuff. It's like, just be proud of your own culture and your own livelihood and be stealing other people's stuff. I'm gonna eat this whole thing. Look at that. Very, very good. 오늘 부대찌개 먹어봤는데요. 너무 맛있었어요. Really glad that you guys could enjoy it with me. Hopefully you go out and you try some bude찌개 if you haven't eaten it for a while. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, let's have some bude찌개 together. See ya.